This WWII soil secret triples any harvest, and, why fertilizer companies buried it for 80 years. During World War II, food wasn't just fuel for civilians, it was a strategic weapon. Blockades, rationing, and disrupted supply chains forced governments to find ways to grow more food with fewer resources, often on poor or exhausted soils. Out of this pressure emerged a soil technique so effective that some wartime records reported crop yields doubling or even tripling without synthetic fertilizer. Yet after the war, this method quietly vanished. The wartime problem: starving soil, not starving farmers. By the early 1940s, much of Europe's farmland was depleted. Continuous monocropping, erosion, and nutrient loss had stripped soils of life. Synthetic fertilizers were scarce, diverted to explosives and ammunition. Farmers had to rely on biology instead of chemistry. Military agricultural researchers noticed something critical. Healthy soil isn't just dirt, it's a living system. The breakthrough came from reviving an ancient but largely forgotten approach now known as carbon-rich soil regeneration, a technique combining composting, biochar, microbial inoculation, and deep organic layering. The secret ingredient: carbon-locked soil. At the heart of this method was carbon, not nitrogen. Farmers mixed charred organic matter, produced by low-oxygen burning of crop waste, wood, or manure, directly into soil. This wasn't ash, it was porous, stable carbon, what modern scientists now call biochar. This carbon acted like a microbial hotel. It trapped nutrients. Instead of letting them leach away, it retained water during droughts, it protected beneficial bacteria and fungi, and it stabilized soil pH naturally. Within weeks, depleted soil transformed into a nutrient-dense ecosystem. So, why did harvests just explode like that? Well, the magic wasn't some instant fertilizer, it was actually soil memory. Unlike chemical fertilizers that just feed plants for a little while, carbon-rich soil feeds the whole soil life, which then keeps feeding plants, well, pretty much continuously. Mycorrhizal fungi expanded root networks, nitrogen-fixing bacteria multiplied, and, yeah, worm populations just surged. The result? Wheat yields increased by as much as 300% in some test plots. Vegetables grew larger, denser, and, honestly, more disease-resistant. Fields needed less water and bounced back faster after harvesting. Even more shocking, these benefits stuck around for decades, not just a few seasons. So, why did all this disappear after World War II? When the war ended, chemical manufacturers suddenly faced a crisis. Explosives factories that produced ammonium nitrate had no war to fight anymore, but they still had all that massive infrastructure to maintain. The solution? Just rebrand those wartime chemicals as agricultural fertilizers. Synthetic fertilizer offered fast, visible results, but, it required repeat purchases every single season, leading to, well, a growing dependency for farmers. Carbon-based soil systems, on the other hand, needed fewer inputs over time and, honestly, reduced fertilizer demand. These systems could even be produced locally by farmers themselves. From a business perspective, though, they were kind of a nightmare. Agricultural policy shifted, funding for soil biology research dried up, farming manuals were rewritten, and within a decade, the World War II soil method was dismissed as inefficient or old-fashioned, despite, mountains of wartime data proving otherwise. Decades later, we see the consequences: soils stripped of microbial life, crops dependent on ever-increasing chemical inputs, and honestly, lower nutrient density in our food. Massive fertilizer runoff is polluting rivers and oceans. Ironically, modern science is now rediscovering exactly what World War II researchers already knew. Today, universities quietly confirm what wartime farmers proved under pressure. Biochar increases yields by 15 to 300%, depending on the soil. Carbon-rich soils store nutrients longer, and microbial diversity directly correlates with crop resilience. What was once labeled as primitive is now marketed as regenerative agriculture, often without crediting its wartime origins. With rising food prices, climate instability and fertilizer shortages, this World War II soil secret may be, honestly, one of the most important agricultural rediscoveries of our time. And the biggest revelation, it was never lost, it was buried.